Welcome back to the channel. 2023 was a great year for cozy games across the board, and I personally played a lot of cozy games on my channel. I wanted to recap 2023 by talking about some of these games that I personally was not as fond of. And some of you certainly may disagree with that, and that is okay. A small disclaimer as well, some of these games I am basing my opinion off of the demo and really only a couple hours of gameplay, because I usually know by playing a short period whether or not I'm going to like the game. And before we get into everything, please do not forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of this cozy game content. And let's not waste any more time and get into everything. Now, kicking things off, a game I was really looking forward to because I also love the horror genre of gaming is Harvest Island. I really wanted to like this one, but the first 30 minutes of the game was extremely painful. You play as the older son to a farmer, and you and your younger sister help out around the farm while helping your dad with blessings and offerings to the gods. Now, the first bit of the game is brutal to get through as your sister is quite possibly the most annoying NPC I've ever interacted with, coupled with a terrible UI and bad controls makes it hard not to want to just refund the game out the gate. The game itself is sold for $25, which to me is extremely steep for a game made in what appears to be the RPG Maker. I know I'm being hard on the game, but this one was sold to me as Stardew Valley meets horror, and I just think it fell extremely short of that. It honestly has nothing in common with Stardew Valley except for having pixelated graphics and basic interactions with farms and animals. The quests themselves are pure fetch quests that aren't really satisfying to complete and oftentimes don't really make sense. The mood does shift later in game into a bit spookier, but it's such a gradual thing that by then, I've sort of mentally moved on. And maybe I'll come back later to try and finish it, but for now, I'd recommend playing other games. Now, this next one, I'm not even entirely sure the game is going to ever officially come out, as only the demo has been available for some time, but Kaiju Fishing is the next on the chopping block, which I do a bit of fishing in real life, so I was super excited to check this game out, especially since I also love fishing minigames and farming sims. Now, I love collecting different fish, and I find it satisfying when a minigame is tough. Now, the demo gameplay, you're just supposed to go around catching one of each type of fish, while a monstrous fish kind of looms in the background just past the rock wall. Different types of fish require different little mini games to catch the fish. Now, at least in between smaller and larger fish types, the art style and just general gameplay are really bland and really rough around the edges. Now, the game to me, if it was released anytime soon, would be a hard pass. Unless they really honestly went to the drawing board and just scrapped and redid everything. The next one, honestly, I debated on whether or not to include because it had elements that I did like, but ultimately it sort of fell just below okay. Gualo and the Grasslands is the next on the list, and really while I only played the demo, it was the core gameplay that I wasn't fond of, which is why it made the list. Now, the things that I really liked about the game is that your pet actually would help you gather materials, which I thought was just totally brilliant. I'm a huge animal lover, so being able to run around with your pet and have him helping you is awesome. I also love when you can physically see and learn more about different cultures through games, and this game was great for that. I wasn't really a fan of the color and how glossy and bright everything was. It made things look a bit cartoony, but kind of in a bad way. And also the art style just wasn't for me, with the characters having dramatic features like Squidward-sized noses. And honestly, apart from those couple things, I didn't have anything else negative to say about the game except for it was just okay. To me, it didn't do anything to stand out from other farming, ranching style sims. So if you run through games very quickly and don't have a massive backlog, then maybe even honestly consider checking this one out. If you're like me though and don't have as much free time, then I unfortunately would recommend passing on this game. Now, this next one to me, I was insanely excited for, because it merges so many different genres that I am in love with, a more sci-fi cozy farming sim. So Lonely Outpost is next on my least favorite, and honestly, this one was really tough to get through, and I'm not sure if this is what the devs were going for or this accidentally happened, but the start is so slow and boring, and it's tough to want to continue playing. While you have games like Stardew Valley and Coral Island that the early game is so insanely addictive that it's hard to put down, you've got Lonely Outpost that is extremely slow and tough to get through at the start. Now, to be fair though, the entire premise of the game is that you're by yourself at the start and you slowly terraform the entire planet. You would have thought though that they would have done something or anything to make the beginning of the game more interesting. Now, every few in-game days you'll have a chance to recruit a new person, at least early on, that comes to the planet, but they really don't offer much in terms of life to the planet itself. Now, I know that this one literally had two different devs working on the game after the original devs sort of gave up on the game, so the new devs came in to actually complete the game. I have heard that the game picks up as you go, and it also looks like they've been adding content through early access, so maybe by full 1.0 release, it'll be worth picking up. Just from my 5-ish hours of playthrough, I didn't find it too entertaining, so personally, for now in early access, I'd recommend skipping this one. Now, this one as well, I'm sure will be very controversial, but to me, this next game suffers the same fate as Gualo, as the concept of the game I thought was super interesting. Being able to have your own farm with dinosaurs just seemed like a dream to come true, and you may have guessed it, Paleo Pines is next on the list. Now granted, I did only play the demo, so the full game may be much better, but the demo itself didn't impress me enough to warrant playing the full thing. Now the things that I did like was the dinosaurs themselves and the fact that you're able to use them to aid you around your farm, and the sounds that they made were super adorable, and seeing them in a cute setting instead of a Jurassic Park more intense setting was a breath of fresh air. Now I'm sure that I'll get a lot of hate for this, but I was not a personal fan of the art style of the game, especially the NPCs. Now I'll admit that I may not be the target demographic of the game, but while I found the game somewhat cute, I found the gameplay to be a bit boring. There's no crafting, you can't enter your own home to decorate it, and NPCs, aside from just looking odd, feel rather bland. So with all that said, I would pass on the game unless of course you were just absolutely enthralled with dinosaurs and like cute games. Now sort of like Paleo Pines, I'm sure that this last game will ruffle some feathers, or should I say fairy wings. Now that's stupid. Well, Fae Farms is my last disappointing game. Now this one as well, I sort of hesitated putting this one on the list because I played it entirely solo, and I feel like this game was made to be played co-op. The general premise is that you play as someone who is recently wrecked on the enchanted island of Azoria, where you work on your farm and explore the island. Honestly, the beginning part of the game I enjoyed and had fun with. After talking to the NPCs and doing quests for these same NPCs, did I start to kind of fall away from enjoying the game. I just found that everything seemed super shallow, especially the town. The town was filled with NPCs, but boy did they have zero personality. Now don't even get me started on the romanceable candidates. Now the farming gameplay itself I found to be okay, nothing great, and all of this coupled with the fact that the game itself is freaking $40 is why this is such a disappointment to me. Now if you can get this game on a deal, then you might have a go for it, but I would definitely hold out for a 50% off deal because even $30 I have trouble justifying the price. Okay, before I wrap up the video, I wanted to do an honorable mention because this game that I'm about to mention is one of my favorite games as of late, but had one of my least favorite going live launches. Coral Island 1.0. Now I'm not going to talk about it too much because I did a whole video surrounding the disaster of the full release of Coral Island going from early access to full access in the newest 1.0 update. I just wanted to give a quick mention because while it's got lots of issues, I freaking love the game. Now that wraps up my least favorite cozy games of 2023. Hopefully you didn't come out of this hating me because of my opinions, and certainly please let me know if you agree or disagree with some of the games on my list, or if you yourself had any cozy games that maybe disappointed you, please drop them in the comments section below because I'd love to know, and I'll see you next time, YouTube. Peace out.